Today I'm here to talk about the Meta Blueprint timeline from its inception, known as Facebook Blueprint certification back in 2015, all the way to today, the Meta Blueprint certification, and into the future, what Meta Blueprint has in store for us. The one thing I want to make sure that you guys know about are the 3 videos that I have on my channel: the study guide to Meta Blueprint, why you should be Meta Blueprint certified, and how to pass the Meta Blueprint exam on the first try. All 3 videos are on my channel. I welcome you. Please find them and let me know what you thought of them. So let's start with 2015. In 2015, Facebook Blueprint was launched, and I remember this being just a series of courses, if you will, with questions at the end. And that was it. There was no certification. The weird thing I remember about this was I remember the questions never matched the material you went through. So you'd go through this course, if you will, with videos and all sorts of, collateral and reading material. And then you would get the questions and the study guide questions, and they were all about how to calculate ROAS, or what's the difference between link click and landing page view. The problem was those are great questions. That's not what was covered on the material. The material was all about random study, case studies, if you will. And I remember being a huge mismatch. I don't know why that is. And I'm not sure if it's like that today. I now have my own way to study for the test, and that's through the practice exams. I don't even go through the course, which is the best way to study for. But I just remember being a huge disconnect and being like, wow, this course is hard. I didn't even understand what I just read because these are different questions. So crazy. I remember that. And then in 2016, that's when the Blueprint certification came out. And this is a big deal because I remember agencies would do press releases, and they even sent you a clear trophy, if you will, that you passed Meta Blueprint, because at that time it was $100, and $100 actually went a long way back in 2016. So I remember that being a big deal, and the press releases and all sorts of stuff, and it was just funny. And then, of course, in 2017, there was live workshops. They have live workshops to this day. I think they're a little bit better today, but back then they were very surface. I didn't really get much out of them. Maybe the CAPI one I got something out of, but that was really it. And then in 2018, the curriculum was updated to cover emerging features, best practices, reflecting the evolving digital marketing landscape. Around this time, too, was iOS 14. And iOS 14 did a humdinger on Meta, because that's when the app transparency tool came out, where you can opt out of being tracked. Well, what's the big deal there? The big deal there is your information doesn't get passed back to Facebook, and then of course to the advertiser. So if you clicked on an ad or you did something, you actually couldn't get remarketed to. So the answer there was the CAPI, Conversion API. That allowed you to be tracked on both mobile and laptop. So if you looked on something on mobile and then you bought on laptop, the conversion would go through, and also use predictive analysis as well. Another cool thing of CAPI was a connection to Shopify and other platforms, e-commerce platforms, which kept that the Facebook Click ID whole. So if you're logged into the place where you're shopping from, that connection was still whole where you logged into something else on another device. So you got credited, and it was the CAPI really saved the day for Facebook, but it was such a hit. It was such a huge hit that things were never really the same after that, because I always refer to Facebook being a casino before that. It really was. You'd spend $5 and get $20 back. Well, after that, it almost seemed like it was like $5, you get $8 back. And that's because it was, a lot of the analysis they weren't able to complete to keep those conversion IDs connected. And that was a huge hit. And it's never really recovered from that. But it also took a lot more credit back then. And even today, you always hear about that. Well, Facebook takes a lot of credit for what it should. And it did back then too. Another outtake of that was the use of high, medium, and low funnels. And that's the whole funnel aspect was really created around this time, because you had less reliance on the bottom purchase, right? Because you didn't have that at the time, the Facebook Click ID, and you had CAPI, but it was just getting started. So you had to rely a lot on the top of pushing people from the upper awareness portion of the funnel to the middle funnel and all the way down. So you had to push these people all the way down, and you had to have separate creative at the time, right? Because you wouldn't have conversion creative at the top. And it was really just bringing people down to have that seamless conversion and purchase. That all was an outtake of iOS 14.5 at the time. The conversion funnel was always around, but that's when it really became mass. Like everybody was talking about conversion funnels after that. At least from the paid portion. Now you talk about conversion funnels from the landing page, right? And you talk about people coming to the site. Now it's more ATC, which is add to cart, IC, initiate checkout, payment method, and then purchase. And then in 2020, you had the Schmovid, and that's when there was a lot of ATC abandonment happened around this time. A lot of people were frustrated. You had a lot of people who stayed at home and they're like, hey, in my spare time, I could run a business. And you had a lot of people dabbling in Facebook ads, but at the time, people really didn't understand the funnel, and they were seeing a lot of add to cart abandonment. And at this time, that became a huge way to bring people back into the funnel. But the problem was when the Schmovid crisis passed, and then things kind of normalized. And I don't think they ever really did, but they kind of normalized. People were like, well, wait a minute, people were not converting like they did pre-Schmovid. Well, that's because, people got used to the add to cart abandonment offer and things like that. That all happened around this time. And then in 2021, the program was rebranded as Meta Blueprint, aligning with Meta. So what do I see for the future? Well, I see greater emphasis on AI and machine learning. We're seeing that already with Google. We see Gemini AI doing ad copy. I actually see that already with Meta, and actually it was done before Gemini was invented. Facebook was already doing this. I see a lot of probably almost design architecture going on, like them eventually saying, okay, so this is your 3 funnels, right? Or 3 portions of your funnels. Here's what we recommend in terms of a spend for the top, middle, and bottom. I could see that eventually happening as well. I know they have Advantage Plus, and I've actually dabbled with that, and I've been kind of impressed. At first I wasn't, but lately I have been. I see more discussion happening on Messenger, a lot of one-to-one marketing. And this is where I see AI and Messenger coming together, because you can have like a lot of people who are like, hey, do you have it in this size? Or do you have this as blue? Or do you have it as red or whatever? And the chatbot will actually, through AI intelligence, be able to figure that out. Now, that's more of a Shopify thing and being integrated more with your e-commerce platform. But I could definitely see something like that happening on Messenger and WhatsApp. And then, of course, I see a lot of college and university tie-ins eventually happening. This is kind of happening in the US. I think India has been way ahead of the game here, especially with Google Ads. I think they teach this actually at a very young level, even, maybe first year college, maybe even last year high school, around then. But I mean, they really are into ads. And I think that's something that the US has kind of lagged behind, especially for marketing programs, where if you were going out for AA, through a certain college, that part of it should be Meta Blueprint certifications. I could definitely see that. I think that's smart, because you want to be marketable with job skills, being able to jump right into any buying job and be employable right off the bat. So I could definitely see that coming down the road. That's really it today. So I wanted to also share that we have our Medium article blogs, if you will. We're also on Spotify. This particular vlog is also repurposed on our podcast. I'm on LinkedIn. And then we have a WhatsApp group. We have an astounding 82 members on the WhatsApp group. I'm very proud of that. That has grown immensely. So I definitely challenge and welcome anybody who wants to join. So visit the link tree to find out more. So thank you so much, and look forward to hearing from you.